Today, I'm going to show you how to build the original Viper Press turkey mouth call jig so that you can stop paying $15 for mouth calls and start building custom, perfectly tuned to you turkey mouth calls for just over $1 each. If you would like to purchase the jig shown in the video, click on the link in the description below. The following hardware and plastic parts shown will be included with your Viper Press jig. If you are missing parts or having trouble assembling your jig, do not hesitate to contact me through my website, which is linked in the description below. Part quantities may vary from what's shown due to extras being added or future design changes. Please reference back to this part of the video if you are unsure of which part is being used during assembly. Before we begin assembly, it is important to note that the screws do not need to be over-tightened. Any extra force beyond snug could possibly crush the plastic part, causing permanent damage. You may also find that some nuts will be either too tight or too loose when trying to fit them into their cavity. If the nuts are too tight, I like to use a screw pushing technique. Using a 30mm long screw, thread out a nut and push it into the pocket. You can then unthread the screw and continue with assembly. If you find the nuts to be too loose within their pocket, you can either hold the nut in place with your finger and attach the screw one at a time, or you can insert the nut, cover it with a piece of tape, and continue with threading on the screw. We will begin the assembly by connecting our clamp block to the toggle clamp using an M4 nut and an M4 by 16mm screw. We will first push a nut into the pocket on the clamp block, align the toggle clamp on the top, drop in a screw, and tighten it down with our Allen wrench. We'll then repeat the process for the other clamp assembly. The next step is to attach our clamp assemblies to the top halves. First, turn the top half over and push a nut into all 4 pockets. Again, if your nuts are too loose, you'll have to put them in one at a time or cover them with a piece of tape. Once we have our nuts in place, we'll flip it back over and position our clamp assembly so the clamp block fits within the groove and all the holes are aligned. You can then put a M4 by 16 screw into all 4 holes and tighten them down, but not fully just yet. We'll then want to position our clamp block so it is centered front to back within our groove and also parallel along the front edge. There should be about a 32nd of an inch, as shown there, from the front face of the groove to the front face of our clamp block. Once you're happy with the position, fully tighten down the screws. We'll then repeat the process for the other top half. Before we continue further with the assembly, we'll need to test our clamping force. We can do this by putting a piece of latex below the clamp block and pressing down on the toggle clamp. If the latex comes out when pulled or moves below the clamp, we'll need to make adjustments. Also, if it takes excessive force to press down on the toggle clamp, we'll need to fix this as well. This clamp is properly tuned as the latex does not come out or move, and excessive force is not needed. However, if the latex comes loose, we'll need to remove the back 2 screws and loosen the front 2. If the clamp is too tight, we'll need to remove the front 2 screws and loosen the back 2. We'll then take a washer, slide it below the toggle clamp so it is aligned within the hole. We'll then drop in a screw to lock it in place. We can then put another washer under the other hole and drop in the other screw. We can then check our clamp position within the groove and tighten down all of the 4 screws. Once they are tight, we can then recheck the clamp pressure and proceed if the issue is corrected. The next step in assembling our Viper press is to build our rod kebab. Before we continue, we will need to determine which hand we will be using to tighten and loosen the jig. If we want to use our right hand, we will use the dial indicator that has the letter R written within the nut pocket. If we want to use our left hand, we will use the dial indicator that has the letter L. For this assembly, I'll be using the right hand dial indicator. We'll first take our threaded rod and thread on the components in the following order: a square nut, a washer, a shaft collar, 2 washers, a square nut, our dial indicator, and finally the other square nut. We'll then want to position our top square nut so it is flush to the top of the rod. Once it is, we will hold the nut in position and turn the dial indicator so it is tight to the nut and it stays in position and does not move. One late addition feature that I added to the jig are these 2 screws. These screws will allow you to eliminate any backlash in the dial indicator. By backlash, I mean how far you will have to turn the dial before it engages. This feature is added late and will only be shown in this part of the video. The reason for this is I was having issues with inconsistent washer and shaft collar thickness. The gap between them needs to be less than 0.005 inches, and it was very difficult to achieve that tolerance. What you will need to do is thread on an M4x8 millimeter screw into both holes and continue to thread it until the tip of the screw is flush with the washer pocket inside. Once both screws are in position, you can assemble the bodies as shown in the next step of the video. Once the bodies are together, you can alternately take your Allen wrench and alternate turning both screws 1/2 of a turn. I will turn this one 1/2 a turn, flip the jig over and turn this one 1/2 of a turn to tighten them until they make contact with that washer within. Once both screws make contact, I will not over torque them as I will strip out the hole. Instead, I will loosen them by 1/4 turn counterclockwise. So I'll loosen this one 1/4 turn, flip the jig over, loosen this one 1/4 turn. I'll continue that process until there is no tension and I can begin to turn the dial indicator. I'll then want to slightly adjust those by tightening or loosening them the same equal amount until I have no backlash or very little of it left and my dial indicator does not have much tension remaining. With our bottom halves laid out as shown, drop each component of our rod kebab into its corresponding pocket. Once in position, we'll place our bridge between the bottom halves, holding the side opposite of the dial indicator as well as the bridge. Push the other bottom half so it butts up to the bridge. Then turn your dial indicator so it makes contact with the adjoining half. Once it makes contact, loosen the dial indicator by one full turn. Take your Allen wrench, locate the set screw on the shaft collar and tighten it. Then take a M4 nut, drop it into the half pocket on the back of the jig, and position the aluminum rods in their pocket. Lay out your top halves so that the pockets will align with the components on the bottom half and press them into place. Position your bridge on the top half of the jig and tighten the dial indicator so the bridge does not fall out. We then want to adjust the dial indicator so it aligns with the tick mark. Since we're using our right hand dial indicator, we want to align it to the left hand tick mark. If we're using the left hand indicator, use the right tick mark. To do so, take your square nut wrench, hold onto the dial, and loosen the square nut. Once loose, turn the dial indicator counterclockwise so it aligns with your tick mark. Once you're happy with the position, hold onto the dial and retighten the nut. Next, take your dial indicator cover cap and screw it on. You do not need to over-tighten the cap. The next step is to join the top and bottom half. Push a nut into the bottom 8 pockets and thread on a M4 by 30mm screw into the top and tighten them with the Allen wrench. You can then install the TPU feet with the M4 by 8mm screws. These holes are tapped directly into the plastic and could strip if over tightened. We can then attach our bridge to the jig using the paracord. First, we'll press together a rope clamp bottom and a rope clamp top. This can be a bit challenging as the parts are very small. Once pressed together, pull them apart slightly so that there is a gap along the sides so that the rope can slip in. Feed the rope through the channel on the jig. Since we're using the right hand variation, we'll position the rope along the back channel of the jig. Then thread the rope through the clamp on both sides. Press a nut into the bottom and slightly thread a M4 by 8mm screw into the top. Remove any slack on the rope and pull the rope through the clamp until it is located where you want it. Then we can tighten down that screw. Repeat the process for attaching it to the bridge. We're nearly done with the assembly. The final steps are for storage of components. Using an M4 by 8mm screw, store the square nut wrench into the bridge. Again, this hole is threaded into the plastic and should not be over tightened. Our mouth-call template can then be connected to the end of the jig using an M4 by 16mm screw. Do not over-tighten this screw as it could damage the jig. Any extra hardware, whether screws, nut, or washers, can be stored within the two bottom holes. There is no correct way to store the hardware as long as it does not stick past the feet. Finally, we can store our Allen wrench in the back of the bridge for easy access. You can also store your pliers, awl, and scissors as shown. The jig is designed for the shown tools, so other brands may or may not fit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you are interested in purchasing a Viper Press jig, click on the link below. Also be sure to check out my website. It is full of resources to help you on your turkey call making journey. You'll find mouth call recipes, examples of different mouth call cuts, where to buy mouth call supplies, and interesting articles. Have a great day.